Hey everybody, this is Kelly Roach and just got done an episode of Boss to Boss. And you guys should check out the show, enjoy it. And Miro is a killer host. Thanks for having me.
What is up, everybody? Boss to Boss. And we about to tune 30. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Rants and Recaps. We in the triple digits, everybody. Triple digits. And I am not losing it. I am not. And you may ask, you may wonder, who's turning 30? What's turning 30? Well, believe it or not, this is not a midlife crisis episode. This is just, we are turning 30 years old. That's we as in Miro, me. Miro, we slow, like we are slow, though we really, really aren't. It's a crazy time. 30 years of experience. I have 30 years of things that I've done, experiences I've been through. The good, the very bad, the very good, the schooling, the knowledge. I'm here to share it all. No holds barred, uncensored. I'm sharing it all. By uncensored, it's just uncensored language. I hope you didn't get any crazy ideas, you animals. Thanks for tuning in, though. Love you all. Anywhere you're at, in Chicago, in LA, in Australia, in London, across the US, across the world. Love you all. Thanks so much for being here. It's a crazy time. As soon as this episode releases, I'm about to say goodbye to my 20s. It's been a wild ride. It's kind of crazy. I guess the more I think about it, it flew by, but then when you really, really grasp and you're like, wow, I did this. I was going to school. I graduated. I went through the whole gruesome process of getting my CPA exam done. I got my first, I DJ'd, I produced some music. I got my first big boy career job and big boy paycheck and spent all my money for the first year and didn't save a penny. Worked at a public accounting firm, which is more like a corporate firm, and got sucked into corporate life and eventually had a life-changing trip and eventually quit that life-changing job and started up a life-changing company and a life-changing podcast and working on a few other things like a course and hopefully one day a book and, holding little events of our own here with Boss to Boss, the podcast. And next thing you know, I'm engaged. I found the love of my life, and there's a wedding that's to be planned. And it's like, what like that? And that's just like scratching the surface. That is scratching the surface of my last 10 years here in my 20s. That's not even going into details like how many firsts. Man, my accent's really coming out today. I don't know what it is. Maybe too much coffee and I'm just a little jittery. But so many firsts have happened in these last 10 years that it's going to be tough to say goodbye to them. It's crazy, first this, first that, first, I mean, you name it. Things I don't even want to talk about. But I guess now this is kind of like a reflection period, and I don't know, a lot get very like, isn't this like the midlife crisis or quarter life, third of a life crisis point, right? That a lot of people get into. I feel like I already went through that. I already went through like that crisis a few years back when I went on the life-changing trip, quit my job, and then kind of trying to figure out what the hell to do with myself. I feel like I'm better prepared now by going through that crisis earlier before I actually hit this big old fat age of 30, which is not really even that old for anybody out there listening. If you're already older than that or you're about to turn 30 or whatever, you're getting there. It's not old at all. I mean, we are all going to live till a very long time in our hundreds. People now born now are, said that they're going to be living to 120, 30 years old. Some studies came out and we are going to live for a very long time. So it's a good time to not let this get to your head and get that little midlife crisis or your 10th of your life crisis or whatever out earlier than later, and kind of look at this as a good time to reflect on the fact that, you know, you're getting older, you're getting wiser, you're going to make less mistakes, less stupid mistakes, hopefully. Though mistakes are always good because that's what we learn from, and that's how we get better, and that's how we know we're alive when we're being challenged and things are happening. But I guess you're hopefully getting better at this thing called life, right? Life. What is life? Who is life? Are we even part of life right now? Are we alive? Are we not? Are we all in a dream? Is this my dream? Is this your dream? We just haven't fully woken up yet. And the dream that we get into at night is actually reality. I mean, what is it? Who is it? But no, that's a real mind fuck, and I'm not over here trying to mess with you on that level. Though I am trying to get you to think and open up. But I guess I would think I'd be a little more depressed about turning 30 years old. But a part of me feels that I've already gotten through that depression, just because I've already had a rough time trying to accept that I am aging. Especially battling some anxiety throughout my years, and over the past year or so, I battled a lot of death anxiety and kind of just worried about dying eventually and things like that. So maybe going through it has kind of eased me a little bit. That now it's like, you know what? Just because I'm getting older doesn't mean that life is ending anytime soon, and doesn't mean that there's still not so much more to do. Just the last 10 years, that's another reason why I love what I'm doing now, and that is documenting things through this podcast, through videos that are released on Facebook or YouTube or social media, just anywhere, or just constantly, updating things on regarding the business and where I'm at, just being connected more with individuals. It lets you kind of look back. It sets a timeline for you. So documenting your journey and what you're doing lets you be able to look back into those moments. Now that we capture all these different moments on our iPhones or whatever, if you're a Google user, I don't know what features they have, but you go scroll up and you got the yearly reminders, you got the little dates attached to everything. And it's like, okay, damn, that was a lot. Wow, I did a lot. Wow, I was fat. Wow, I gained some weight now, and whatever it is. But a lot has happened, and I'm sure, looking back at your last 10 years, and you can probably say the same. I hope so. And if not, then why not make the next 10 years even bigger and better and better? A little bit of all types of words over here I'm throwing at you today. Yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. It's one of those things where I feel like I should be a little more depressed than I am. And a part of me is it's, you're getting older. It's the truth. But then, isn't it crazy how times are different now? And I know I'm ranting today, and this is totally off topic, and I don't know how much this has to do with you becoming a boss, but it's just something that's important and something that has been on my mind, and I'm definitely going to talk about it because I'm only going to turn 30 once. And that is that, look how much different life is now compared to just 50 years ago or whatever, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 80 years ago for our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. When they were turning 30, at that point, like my dad, for example, I'm kind of putting myself in his shoes. He was already married. He already had me. I was already 4 years old, I believe, something like that. My sister was 2 years old. Already think he might have or was about to buy a house. It just, times were different. He was hustling. He had to work every single day. He had to work full time, overtime, anytime it was possible, just to kind of survive. And at that point, I wasn't even in America yet. I was still in Poland. He was getting me to America. I came shortly after. But and then obviously probably wasn't considered as worried about health. But then I look back, like my grandpa or great grandpa, when they were 30, at that point, like their kids were even older. Like my dad, I believe, was probably already like 7 or 8 when my grandpa was 30. I don't know if I'm doing the math right. He already had like a lot more under his belt. Already had to be more worried about his health because people weren't living as long at the time. I don't know the exact numbers, but they definitely weren't living as long as they are now. And there was just a lot more concern, a lot more struggle. Where are you going to get your money? Not just money. Where are you going to eat? The times were tougher. Times were different, and at that point, you really had to start looking at your life as it was a true midlife crisis, or almost like past the midway point, because people live to only 40, 50 years old at times back in the day. So it's a little wild to think about how much times have changed. That for us, the 30 of 100 years ago is going to be maybe our 60, maybe our 55. That will be like the 30 of 100 years ago when we sit back, and now we kind of have maybe a family going, or maybe you don't believe in families, so whatever it is. But maybe then you're actually like, okay, now I could truly reflect on like the first half of my life. But obviously you could walk outside and get hit by a bus the next day. So you can reflect all you want, but it's nice. It's nice to sit back and just kind of reflect on things and just kind of realize that you should be proud of yourself, be proud of your moments. You have done a lot, and believe it or not, like your life hasn't been a waste. I'm sure if you sit back and you start kind of just jotting down all the different things you did, and they don't have to be all positives. Like it doesn't have to be all groundbreaking things you did. Maybe you had moments with your friends, just moments with your family, just notable things that you did, like trips you took or something. I'm sure there were great times in those years that will make you kind of realize that it was a time worthwhile. It was a good time spent. And now if there were bad moments, I'm going to do this and that different. These were the peaks and these were the lows. How do I get more of these peaks in the next 10 years of my life? And maybe reflecting on that, seeing how, oh, wow, these last 2 years of my life have been so much better than the 8 before that. What can I do now to make sure the next 10 years are just like these last 2 years? So it's probably, it's good. That's why I'm so about documenting things when possible. Obviously, privacy is nice, and I fully support it, but it's nice to have documentation so you could go back and look back and see exactly what, who, what, where, why, how, what happened. Yeah, I might touch base on this again next week, because now I'm still 29 as of this episode, but in a couple days I won't be. So I'll see how I feel. Maybe when it's all said and done, and I am actually a big 3-0 on paper, maybe my life is going to drastically change. So be aware. We'll see what happens. But I'm curious. For all of you that have turned 30, or you're about to, does it scare you? Does it frighten you? Did it scare you? Are you? Is it better now? Is life better on the other side? I'm curious. Let me know. Maybe I should do like some Facebook Live or something about this, because I'm curious. I want to get more interactive. I'm curious what everybody else thinks, because it's a pillar, right? It's like that big 3-0. Then you got the big 5-0 or 4-0 or 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 100. I can't wait for that one. No, I'm kidding. I could wait. Slow down. I could wait. Anyways, hope that was a little inspirational and motivational for y'all, especially knowing that life goes on, and at the end of the day, it's just a nice big fat number. That's all it is. It shouldn't make any impact. Like, I feel the same as I felt 10 years ago. Maybe I had a little more energy, just a little bit more, but now that I'm on a really good diet, gluten-free, dairy-free for the most part, and slowly cutting back on meat as well, and constant exercise, I've definitely been able to regain that strength and energy that I once had when I was much younger. So it's something to just keep your head up about, and just know that just because you're getting older doesn't mean that things have to crumble up and die. Like they really don't. They really don't. As I'm getting older, I'm doing more bigger and better things. Even though I'm not even that old, like some people laugh at me, especially if you're like double my age or triple my age, you're gonna laugh at me. I'm over here making it sound like I have all this wisdom and shit, but I have, I have a little bit. And I'll share what I have, because hopefully that impacts at least that one person today, and that one person feels a little bit better about their life and where they're at. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed my rant. Hope you enjoyed everything that's been happening here, and hope you crush the rest of your week and on to the next week. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Talk to you soon. Boss to Boss, rants and recaps. We are out.
That is all for this episode of Boss to Boss. Your next step is to visit bosstoboss.com, where you will find proven techniques followed by professionals to help you make that next step. Again, that is boss2boss.com. And remember, the time is now.